So I finished staining this a few days ago. I let it dry. So now I'm ready to continue this video and tell you why I think you should consider adding some vintage shoe trees to your collection. First, let me start with showing a modern shoe tree. You can buy these in small, medium, and large, and I think extra large as well. And most of them are a variant of this design. They either have 1 or 2 barrels, and they usually are working through compression that then expands the front part. And you can have a variation of this where it's not the whole half, but only a piece goes out. I don't have one of those. So a few things about this design that I think a number of the vintage shoe trees do better. One is there are only 3 sizes, maybe 4: small, medium, large, and perhaps an extra large. So everything works through this compression, and there are a couple of things. When you put these into your shoe, what you'll notice is that basically these is providing pressure right on this part, but it's not really filling out all of the shoe, and there are areas here where it's just empty. All the pressure is right here, and it doesn't do on all the shoes the best job in eliminating the creases. Also, it doesn't provide any support for this area of the vamp, and depending on the strength of the spring inside, is putting a lot of pressure on the back, and it may expand your shoe. There are questions out there that people ask: do shoe trees stretch your shoe? Well, it's not intended to stretch your shoes, but if you have a shoe tree inside your shoe all the time and that spring tension is too large, it will over time stretch your shoe a little bit on the back and also on those pressure points. So for that reason, if you're going to buy a modern shoe tree, and let's face it, most of us will, a shoe tree that I've been using lately that I like a lot is these Cedar Elements shoe tree. The spring in that shoe tree is a lot lighter than in some of the other shoe trees that you can buy out there. And at first, I thought that stronger was better, but now that I see the effect that it has on my shoes, I'm going to be replacing the old shoe trees with Cedar Elements, which are a lot softer. Now, I say that I'm going to replace my shoe trees with Cedar Elements. That's because it's really hard to find enough vintage shoe trees, but if you do find them, I do recommend getting some of them. So let me tell you about the features of vintage shoe trees that I like. And not all vintage shoe trees are done or made the same. So just because it's vintage doesn't mean that I'm recommending getting that. I'm recommending you get the ones that have these features. So one is these Vamp Support here. Compare this modern shoe tree to this vintage shoe tree. This will really provide shape for the entire vamp. Look how long this model is versus this one. This one provides support for the entire front of the shoe. The other thing is that these vintage shoe trees do not expand. This is the shape, and that's because they were made for each size. You had a size 9, a size 10, a size 8. These ones that I got were actually a size 9.5. So I actually sanded it down on the side because it was a little too wide, and I sanded it down on the back to make it the right size. The other feature is that it provides support for the entire vamp, not just a couple of pressure points at the front. These will nicely shape the entire vamp. The other thing that I like is that it's not under tension all the time. If this is the size of your shoe, then this will not be pushing on your shoe all the time and stretching the back. If you need to make it longer to fit your shoe, then you can size it however you need. And once you find the right size for your shoe, you lock it at that size. And then you put it in and you lock it. So let me demonstrate that with these shoe that I have here. I can put it in. And that's it. Actually, the smallest size fits this shoe because, like I said, this was made for a 9.5. And if you go through the entire front end, there is no empty space here. This is nicely providing support to the entire vamp, and it will be much more effective in preventing creases than a shoe tree that only provides pressure at a couple points. So let me demonstrate that with a few other examples that I have here. In this particular example is this knob here that provides the size adjustment. This other vintage shoe tree is similar, but this one has this knob here, and you actually rotate the knob, and that is what makes it longer or narrower, longer or shorter. And again, once you find the length that's correct for your shoe, that will be the length. It's not providing tension or stretching and deforming your shoe. And lastly, I have another example here. Notice how it has that vamp support for the entire vamp. And the way that you change the size on this one is via a screw. This is a very simple design. It just has a screw, and you screw it in to make it shorter, or you screw it out to make it longer. And again, once you find the right size for your shoe, that is it. It's not going to be stretching your shoe. This is just some wiggle room for you to be able to insert it into the shoe. And this one is an 8C. So when you're on eBay or some other place looking for shoe trees, you can look for the right size for your shoe. This one is a Johnson & Murphy shoe tree. And that's all I had for this video. I basically wanted to tell you the 3 things that I like about vintage shoe trees. They provide, let me just bring this one here to summarize. They provide support for the entire vamp. They provide for the height here on the instep and the vamp. That's the word that I was looking for earlier, the instep shaping. And then the entire vamp. And they're not stretching your shoe all the time. That shape is going to be held, and that's it. Once it's there, it's not stretching your shoe. But it is supporting that instep. I cannot push that in. And it is providing support for the entire vamp, providing better protection against creasing and maintaining the shape of your shoe. That's all I had for this video. If there are any questions or comments, please put them down below. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, click subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you.